Most Mazda owners think they know their car. They know how to pair their phone. They know where the spare tire is. They know how to adjust the mirrors. But what they don't know is that their Mazda is hiding an entire layer of functionality that most drivers will never discover. Not because it's complicated, not because it requires special equipment or dealer access, but because nobody tells you about it when you buy the car. Your salesperson didn't mention it. Your owner's manual buries it in obscure language. And Mazda's marketing definitely doesn't advertise it. These are the tricks that experienced Mazda technicians, longtime enthusiasts, and obsessive owners discover after years of living with these cars. And today, I'm giving them all to you at once. I've been working on and driving Mazdas for years. In that time, I've accumulated a collection of tips, tricks, and hidden functions that consistently blow people's minds when I show them. The reaction is always the same. I've owned this car for 3 years, and I had no idea it could do that. Today, that's going to be you. By the end of this video, you'll know your Mazda better than 99% of the people driving the same car. Let's get into it. Pro tip number 1. The battery disconnect ECU reset. Here's a trick that can fix a surprising range of Mazda problems without spending a single dollar at the shop. Your Mazda's engine control unit, the ECU, is essentially a computer that manages every aspect of how your engine runs. Over time, this computer accumulates error codes, adapts to worn components, and builds habits that can actually work against optimal performance. Fuel trim that's drifted too rich or too lean. Idle that's rough because the ECU adapted to a dirty throttle body. Transmission shift points that feel off. The fix: a complete ECU reset. Here's exactly how to do it. With the engine off, disconnect the negative battery terminal. Hold down the brake pedal for 30 full seconds. This drains any remaining electrical charge from the system's capacitors, fully clearing the ECU's adaptive memory. Wait 10 minutes before reconnecting. Reconnect the negative terminal, start the engine, and let it idle for 10 minutes without touching anything. During this idle period, the ECU is relearning your engine's baseline parameters. After 10 minutes, take the car for a gentle 20-minute drive, varying your speed gradually. This teaches the ECU the correct adaptive values for your specific engine's current condition. What this fixes: rough idle, hesitation during acceleration, poor fuel economy, erratic transmission shifting, and sometimes even minor sensor-related check engine lights. I've done this on customer Mazdas that were running rough for months. After the reset and relearn drive, they drove completely differently, smoother, more responsive, better fuel economy. This trick alone is worth the price of watching this video. Pro tip number 2. The idle relearn procedure. After any major engine work, battery disconnect, or throttle body cleaning, your Mazda's idle needs to be retaught. Most owners skip this step. Then they wonder why the idle is rough, surging, or sitting at the wrong RPM. Here's the exact idle relearn procedure. Start the engine and let it reach full operating temperature. This takes about 10 minutes of driving or 15 to 20 minutes of idling. Once at temperature, bring the car to a complete stop with the transmission in drive, automatic, or neutral, manual. Do not touch the gas pedal. Do not touch the brake harder than necessary to hold the car still. Let the engine idle completely undisturbed for 3 full minutes. During these 3 minutes, the ECU is establishing the correct idle baseline, the exact throttle position needed to maintain the target idle RPM at operating temperature. After 3 minutes, turn the engine off and wait 30 seconds. Start the engine again and check the idle. It should now be smooth and stable, sitting between 600 and 800 revolutions per minute. If you just cleaned your throttle body or did any intake work, this procedure is absolutely essential. Skipping it leads to weeks of frustrating rough idle that owners often blame on bad parts when it's simply an uncompleted relearn. Pro tip number 3. The hidden diagnostic mode. This one genuinely surprises people. Your Mazda has a built-in diagnostic mode that displays real-time sensor data directly on your dashboard. No expensive scan tool required. Here's how to access it on most 2014 to 2019 Mazda models. Turn the ignition to on without starting the engine. Press and hold the trip odometer reset button on the instrument cluster. While holding it, turn the ignition off, then back to on again. Continue holding the button until the display changes to show diagnostic codes. Cycle through the readings by pressing the button briefly. What you can read in this mode: coolant temperature sensor reading, battery voltage, throttle position sensor data, and various system status indicators. This is particularly useful for checking your coolant temperature sensor reading when you suspect your temperature gauge isn't accurate. If your gauge shows the engine is cold, but the sensor reading shows 195 degrees Fahrenheit, you have a gauge calibration issue rather than an actual temperature problem. For newer Mazdas, 2019 onwards, with the full infotainment system, access the hidden diagnostic menu by going to Settings, then navigating rapidly through the menu in a specific sequence. The exact sequence varies by model year, so I recommend searching your specific year's diagnostic mode access on Mazda-specific forums. But trust me, the menu exists on every modern Mazda, and the data it provides is invaluable. Before we continue, if you want the complete guide to Mazda-specific maintenance procedures, reset sequences, and everything that keeps your engine running perfectly for 500,000 miles, click the link in the description to download your 500,000-mile car maintenance blueprint. It covers these procedures in detail along with every maintenance interval your Mazda needs. Let's keep going. Pro tip number 4, the window relearn. After battery disconnect. Here's a small but incredibly useful trick that prevents a frustrating problem. Every time you disconnect your Mazda's battery, the power windows lose their auto up and auto down memory. You press the window switch and it goes up, but the one-touch auto function doesn't work anymore. Most owners assume the window regulator is broken and worry about an expensive repair. It's not broken, it just needs to be retaught. Here's the relearn procedure. Close all windows completely. Press and hold the window switch in the up position for 3 full seconds after the window is fully closed. Don't release immediately when the window closes. Hold for 3 extra seconds. Release, then test the auto up function by pressing the switch briefly. Repeat for each window. Takes about 2 minutes total. Your one-touch window function is fully restored. This trick alone has saved dozens of my customers from unnecessary dealer visits and repair bills. Pro tip number 5, the fuel economy reset trick. Here's a pro trick that most Mazda owners never use. Your Mazda's fuel economy display averages your consumption over time. If you've been driving aggressively in heavy traffic or in cold weather recently, your displayed average is dragged down by those conditions. You can't trust it as a gauge of your current driving efficiency. Here's the trick. Reset your average fuel economy display at the start of every tank. Find the reset button for the trip computer on your steering wheel controls or instrument cluster. Reset both the trip odometer and the average fuel economy simultaneously every time you fill up. Now, your displayed fuel economy only reflects your current tank of driving. This gives you accurate, real-time feedback on your driving habits. If your fuel economy drops significantly on a particular tank, that's your first warning sign of a developing engine problem. A sudden 10% drop in fuel economy with no change in driving habits can indicate a failing oxygen sensor, a clogged fuel injector, a coolant temperature sensor issue, causing the engine to run rich. Early spark plug degradation. Using fuel economy as a monitoring tool, not just an informational display, turns your dashboard into an engine health indicator. If you're enjoying this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. This helps me bring you more honest car advice for my Mazda guys. Pro tip number 6, the throttle body cleaning secret. Here's something most owners don't know. Your Mazda's throttle body should be cleaned every 30,000 miles. Most people never do this, and the throttle body slowly accumulates carbon deposits that restrict airflow. The result? Rough idle, hesitation, poor fuel economy, and a car that feels sluggish below 2,000 revolutions per minute. Here's the professional cleaning procedure. Buy a can of throttle body cleaner, $8 to $12 at any auto parts store. Remove the air intake tube from the throttle body, usually 2 clamps, and takes 5 minutes. Have a helper hold the throttle open by pressing the gas pedal slightly while the engine is off. Spray throttle body cleaner onto a clean rag and wipe the inside of the throttle body thoroughly. Never spray cleaner directly into the throttle body on a Skyactiv engine because of the direct injection system and drive-by-wire throttle. Wipe until the cloth comes away clean with no brown or black residue. Reinstall the air intake tube. Perform the idle relearn procedure immediately after. See pro tip number 2. The difference is often dramatic. Smooth idle restored, throttle response sharpened, a $10 can of cleaner and 20 minutes of your time. Pro tip number 7. The steering angle sensor reset. Here's a tip that's incredibly useful after any suspension work, tire rotation, or wheel replacement. Your Mazda's stability control and lane keeping systems use a steering angle sensor to know which direction you're pointing the wheel. This sensor needs to be calibrated to know what straight ahead is. If it drifts out of calibration, your stability control behaves erratically, your lane keeping assistance pulls in the wrong direction, and you might see a stability control warning light. Here's the DIY reset procedure. Drive to an empty, flat parking lot. Drive in a straight line at exactly 20 miles per hour for at least 50 feet. Come to a complete stop. Turn the steering wheel fully to the left until it stops. Hold for 3 seconds. Turn fully to the right until it stops. Hold for 3 seconds. Return to center and drive straight at 20 miles per hour for another 50 feet. The system recalibrates during the sequence. The stability control warning light should extinguish after completing this procedure. If it doesn't, there may be a physical sensor issue requiring professional diagnosis. But in most cases, especially after suspension work, this simple procedure resolves the issue completely. Pro tip number 8. The TPMS reset secret. Here's one that every Mazda owner will use at some point. After rotating your tires, changing a tire, or adjusting tire pressure, your TPMS, tire pressure monitoring system, often shows incorrect warnings. The sensors are still programmed to the wrong wheel positions. Here's the proper reset procedure. Inflate all 4 tires to the exact correct pressure listed on your driver's door jamb sticker. Not the maximum pressure listed on the tire sidewall, the door jamb number. Drive at speeds above 25 miles per hour for at least 10 minutes continuously. The TPMS system relearns the sensor positions during this drive and clears the warning. For stubborn cases where the warning persists, locate the TPMS reset button, usually under the steering column or in the glove box area. Press and hold it for 3 seconds with the ignition on, then complete the 10-minute drive. Here's the secret most owners miss. TPMS sensors are pressure and temperature sensitive. Cold morning? The sensors read low, even if the pressure is correct at room temperature. If your TPMS warning comes on every cold morning and goes away after driving for a few miles, your tires are probably slightly underinflated for cold weather conditions. Add 2 psi above the recommended pressure during winter months to compensate. Pro tip number 9. The long drive carbon cleaning trick. Here's a trick that costs nothing, but significantly helps your Skyactiv engine. As we've discussed, direct injection engines accumulate carbon deposits on intake valves. But here's what most owners don't know. A specific type of driving actually helps burn off those deposits. Once a month, take your Mazda on a 20-minute highway drive. Not city driving, not stop and go. Steady highway speed, ideally above 65 miles per hour. Then, on a safe, empty section of highway, briefly accelerate to 4,000 to 4,500 revolutions per minute in a lower gear before backing off. Do this 3 to 4 times during the drive. This high-load, high RPM operation generates combustion temperatures hot enough to burn off light carbon deposits before they solidify into hard buildup. It also burns off any fuel dilution in the oil from short-trip driving, purges moisture from the exhaust system, and gets the engine fully up to operating temperature, something short trips never achieve. Japanese taxi drivers who rack up 500,000 miles do this instinctively. They call it giving the engine a workout. In American driving culture, it's called Italian tune-up. Either way, it works. Make it a monthly habit. And if you want the complete collection of pro maintenance procedures like these, along with the full maintenance schedule that takes your Mazda to 500,000 miles, grab your 500,000 mile car maintenance blueprint from the link in the description. It covers every reset procedure, every cleaning interval, and every trick that experienced Mazda technicians use to keep these engines running perfectly for decades. The bottom line: your Mazda is more capable and more sophisticated than most owners realize. The ECU Reset fixes performance issues without spending $1. The Idle Relearn restores smooth operation after any engine work. The Diagnostic Mode gives you real-time sensor data without a scan tool. The Window Relearn takes 2 minutes after every battery disconnect. The Fuel Economy Reset turns your dashboard into an engine health monitor. The Throttle Body Cleaning restores response and idle quality for $10. The Steering Angle Reset fixes stability control issues after suspension work. The TPMS Reset clears false warnings after tire rotations in minutes. The Monthly Highway Drive keeps your direct injection engine clean naturally. None of these cost significant money. None require professional training. They just require knowing they exist. Now you know. Use them. Share them with other Mazda owners. And enjoy the satisfaction of knowing your Mazda better than 99% of the people driving the same car. If you found these tips helpful, be sure to watch this next video as we're sharing insider tips to help you cut repair costs and keep your car running like new.